My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen with your spirit, because this message is not arriving by accident. This is a December 31st New Year's Eve alert, and Archangel Michael is stepping forward with urgency, clarity, and divine authority. The final moment is here to secure your blessing, and heaven is watching how you respond. What you do in this narrow window will decide whether the coming year releases an abundance of happiness or begins to multiply hidden sorrows. This is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. Right now, there is a spiritual crossing taking place. One year is closing its eyes, and another is opening its mouth to speak over your life. Archangel Michael says many people will enter the new year asleep, unaware, and unprepared. But you were pulled into this message because your soul was marked to hear the warning before the door shifts. This is not about luck. This is about alignment. And the clock is moving faster than you realize. Hear this carefully. The enemy does not need to destroy you when he can distract you. He does not need chaos when delay will do the job. Archangel Michael says the greatest danger of this night is not what you fear, it is what you keep postponing. Promises delayed, obedience delayed, decisions delayed, healing delayed. And as this year ends, heaven is asking one question: will you move now, or will you carry the same weight forward again? Something unseen has been hovering over your household. You have felt it in quiet moments, a strange heaviness that comes and goes, a sense that something must change, but the timing never feels perfect. Archangel Michael says this is the final invitation to break that cycle. If you cross into the new year without confronting what God has already revealed to you, the lesson does not disappear. It repeats, and often with greater intensity. This is why the message feels intense, because this is not an ordinary night. December 31st is a spiritual threshold. Words spoken tonight echo louder. Choices made tonight carry unusual authority. Silence tonight can cost more than action. Archangel Michael is standing guard at this moment, sword drawn, not to threaten you, but to protect the blessing that is trying to reach you. You may be asking, what blessing? The one you almost gave up on. The one that looked delayed. The one that required faith when nothing around you made sense. Heaven has forgotten me. But blessings are not automatic. They are activated. And activation requires movement. Even one small act of obedience can shift the entire atmosphere of your coming year. Listen closely. Archangel Michael says some of you are about to step into a year of unusual joy, restored peace, and divine favor. But only if you do not carry the old agreement forward. The agreement with fear. The agreement with self-doubt. The agreement with settling. This night is designed for release. If you cling to what God already asked you to lay down, the weight becomes heavier in the next season. There is a reason this message says open quickly. Because doors do not remain open forever. Some doors close quietly, without warning, without drama. And people realize too late that what they assumed would wait for them has already moved on. Archangel Michael says heaven is generous, but timing is precise. I need you to understand this clearly. This is not about being perfect. This is about being willing. Willing to forgive. Willing to obey. Willing to step away from what drains you. Willing to speak the truth you have been swallowing. Willing to choose life instead of comfort. Tonight, heaven honors willingness more than strength. You may feel unprepared. That is normal. You may feel emotional. That is expected. You may feel resistance rising inside you as this message continues. That is confirmation. Archangel Michael says resistance appears when something powerful is about to break. Do not click away. Do not brush this off. Do not tell yourself you will come back later. Later is the most dangerous word on a night like this. There is a blessing hovering over your name, but blessings do not chase. They respond. They respond to faith. They respond to attention. They respond to action. The coming year is neutral until you speak into it, step into it, and align with it. Abundance of happiness or multiplied sorrow will not come randomly. One is chosen, the other is drifted into. And hear this with clarity and peace. Archangel Michael is not here to condemn you. He is here to cover you, to protect what God planted in you, to remind you that heaven is still involved in your story. But involvement does not cancel responsibility. Tonight, your response matters more than your past. Take a breath. Let this settle. The next words will reveal what must be secured before the clock turns. And trust this, what comes next will not be spoken to everyone. It is for those who stay, those who sense this was more than a video, more than a message. This is where it gets real. Beloved one, as the seconds continue to move forward, Archangel Michael says this is the hour when clarity must replace confusion. Many people enter a new year carrying unanswered questions, but you are being invited into answers tonight. The uncertainty you have been feeling is not because God is silent. It is because your spirit is being prepared to hear something weighty. Heaven does not shout important instructions. It waits until the heart is still enough to receive them. Archangel Michael reveals that the coming year is already forming patterns. These patterns are not random. They are responding to agreements you are making right now, consciously or unconsciously. Every thought you entertain tonight, every emotion you allow to dominate, every decision you postpone is shaping the atmosphere you will walk into tomorrow. This is why this moment is sacred. This is why you were warned not to miss it. Some of you have been standing between two choices for far too long. One choice feels familiar but heavy. The other feels uncertain but peaceful. Archangel Michael says the familiar path is comfortable because you have survived there, but survival is not the same as abundance. Heaven is not calling you into another year of barely getting through. You are being summoned into alignment where joy is no longer rare and peace is no longer temporary. Here is something important you must understand. Delay is not neutral. Delay slowly becomes disobedience when God has already made the instruction clear. Archangel Michael says many sorrows multiply not because of evil attacks, but because of ignored nudges. Small warnings dismissed. Gentle convictions silenced. Quiet truths buried under routine. This night is mercy knocking loudly before repetition sets in. You may have noticed strange emotional waves today. Moments of reflection. Sudden memories. A pull to think about what went wrong and what never happened. That is not weakness. That is your spirit reviewing what cannot go forward with you. Archangel Michael says the next year cannot hold everything you are trying to carry. Some things must end tonight so new things can begin without resistance. This is also why gratitude matters right now. Not shallow gratitude, but honest acknowledgement of how far you have come. When you thank God for survival, heaven responds with restoration. When you honor lessons instead of resenting them, wisdom replaces regret. Archangel Michael says humility tonight unlocks protection tomorrow. Listen closely. There is a difference between being busy and being aligned. Many people are exhausted because they are fighting the wrong battles. The coming year will expose this clearly. What drains you will begin to demand more. What feeds you will begin to grow faster. Your job tonight is to recognize the difference and choose accordingly. This message is also reaching you because you are not meant to walk alone. What you are receiving is not only for you. Archangel Michael says when truth lands in a prepared heart, it becomes light for others. This is why sharing matters. When you share this message, when you speak in agreement through your comments, when you engage instead of staying silent, you are not helping a video, you are amplifying a warning that could redirect someone else's destiny. So if this message is stirring something inside you, let your response be visible. Like this video as an act of agreement. Share it with someone who needs clarity before the year turns. Comment with expectation, not doubt. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to messages that guard your spirit. Join the membership if you feel called to go deeper and stay covered consistently. These actions are not random. They are declarations that you choose awareness over distraction. Archangel Michael says heaven responds to participation. When you step forward instead of watching from a distance, the message begins to work within you more powerfully. Faith is never passive. It moves, it speaks, it aligns. And now hear this carefully. The next phase of this message reveals what specifically must be secured before the clock completes its turn. This is where many people lose focus and miss the instruction. Do not let familiarity steal urgency. What comes next will connect the warning directly to your daily life in ways you did not expect. Hold on to this moment. You will want to hear what follows, because this is where the hidden reason behind your recent struggles is finally uncovered. Chosen one, feel the weight of this moment settling gently on your spirit, because Archangel Michael says this is where understanding turns into activation. What you have heard so far was not meant to inform you, it was meant to position you. There is a divine difference between knowing and securing, and tonight that difference matters more than ever. The final hours of this year are not empty time slipping away, they are charged with assignment. Archangel Michael reveals that many people misunderstand blessings. They think blessings arrive when circumstances improve. But heaven says blessings arrive when alignment is complete. That is why two people can walk into the same year and experience entirely different outcomes. One enters aligned, the other enters unchanged. One multiplies joy, the other unknowingly multiplies sorrow. The year itself is not the cause. The posture of the heart is. Right now, something is being weighed. Not your mistakes, not your failures, not your past. What is being weighed is your readiness to release control. Archangel Michael says control is the silent blocker of abundance. When you insist on understanding everything before moving, you delay what can only be accessed by faith. This is why some doors never open, not because God said no, but because trust was withheld. You have felt it before. That inner nudge telling you to let go of something that feels safe but limits your growth. That quiet voice asking you to forgive when you wanted justice. That invitation to step forward when retreat felt easier. Archangel Michael says those were rehearsals. Tonight is not a rehearsal. Tonight is execution. This is the moment where old cycles either break or strengthen. Cycles are not broken by wishing. They are broken by decision. Heaven is watching which agreement you will carry forward. The agreement with fear or the agreement with faith. The agreement with delay or the agreement with obedience. The agreement with survival or the agreement with abundance. Do not underestimate the power of a single, sincere decision made under divine awareness. One decision tonight can rewrite 12 months ahead. One release can make room for provision you thought was impossible. One act of humility can shut doors that were draining your peace without you realizing it. Archangel Michael says when alignment is chosen, protection follows automatically. There is also something being restored right now. Not externally yet, but internally. Hope that was bruised. Confidence that was shaken. Trust that was tested. The reason this message feels personal is because it is. Heaven does not broadcast specific instructions to random hearts. This is targeted, intentional time. You may be sensing emotion rising as these words continue. Let it rise. Tears are not weakness. They are evidence of release. Archangel Michael says when the heart softens, the spirit strengthens. What you allow yourself to feel tonight will determine what you are able to receive tomorrow. Understand this clearly. Abundance of happiness does not mean a year without challenges. It means a year where challenges do not control you. It means peace that stays even when circumstances fluctuate. It means clarity when others panic. It means support appearing at the exact moment you need it. This is what is being secured now. But multiplied sorrow also has a pattern. It grows when lessons are ignored, when warnings are brushed aside, when pride resists correction. Archangel Michael does not speak this to threaten you. He speaks this to protect you. Awareness is mercy in advance. How take this moment seriously. Speak honestly with God in your heart. Release what you have been holding too tightly. Look at who you have been avoiding. Decide what will not cross into the new year with you. Heaven responds powerfully to sincere surrender. Archangel Michael is standing with his sword lowered, not raised. This is not a battle posture. This is a guarding posture. He is guarding what you are about to receive, but only if you step into agreement. Blessings do not force their way into closed hands. As this part comes to a close, receive this as confirmation. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are positioned. And position determines outcome. Type "I receive" the shift in the comments if this message is confirming what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 909 has just been released. As I speak, I feel a direct invitation rising in my spirit for those who understand that this message is not meant to stop here. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal donation linked in the description, you are not funding content. You are sowing light into hearts that are still in darkness. The word declares that when seed is released, harvest follows, and I speak harvest over every giver tonight. Your act of support becomes oil that keeps this fire burning and rivers that carry this warning to souls who are still unaware. This is not charity. This is obedience meeting opportunity. As you give, I declare that heaven responds quickly to you with protection, clarity, and increase. Do it now, and let your seed speak for you as the year turns. Beloved soul, as the silence deepens and the night moves closer to its turning point, Archangel Michael says this is the space where truth settles after revelation. What you received earlier was the alert. What comes now is the grounding. Many people hear divine warnings, but few allow them to reshape their inner posture. This is the hour where posture matters more than emotion. There is a hidden reason why this year tested you the way it did. It was not punishment. It was preparation. Archangel Michael reveals that certain strengths cannot be formed in comfort. Discernment is sharpened through disappointment. Wisdom is refined through delay. Endurance is built through seasons where answers feel slow. You were not being denied. You were being trained to carry what is coming without losing yourself. Some of you struggled because you were still using old methods in a new season. You tried to solve spiritual problems with human logic. You tried to heal emotional wounds with distraction. You tried to silence conviction with busyness. Archangel Michael says the coming year will not respond to old strategies. What worked before will no longer sustain you. This is why adjustment is required now, not later. Hear this carefully. The greatest enemy of growth is familiarity. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. That is why people stay in cycles they hate but understand. Archangel Michael says heaven is offering you something better, but better requires courage. Courage to step into what you cannot fully predict. Courage to trust God beyond evidence. Courage to let go without guarantees. This night is not asking you to have everything figured out. It is asking you to choose direction. Direction matters more than speed. Even slow obedience moves you forward, while fast resistance keeps you stuck. Archangel Michael says heaven measures progress differently than humans do. He sees the heart before the outcome. There is also a quiet invitation being extended right now to strengthen your inner life. Not your appearance, not your reputation, but your inner foundation. The coming year will reward those who invested inwardly, those who prayed when no one saw, those who corrected themselves instead of blaming others, those who listened before reacting. This kind of investment produces peace that cannot be shaken. You may be wondering why certain relationships felt strained this year, why conversations felt harder, why misunderstandings surfaced unexpectedly. Archangel Michael says exposure is not always separation. Sometimes it is purification. Some connections will deepen because truth is finally spoken. Others will fall away because alignment is no longer mutual. Neither outcome is failure. Both are necessary. You not grieve what leaves if it was not designed to carry you forward. Grief delays transition when it clings too long. Honor what was, but do not chain yourself to it. Archangel Michael says the coming year requires lighter hands and a clearer focus. There is also a warning wrapped in protection here. Be careful what voices you allow to shape your expectations. Fear disguised as realism will try to convince you that nothing changes. Cynicism will attempt to mock faith. Archangel Michael says guard your hearing. What you repeatedly listen to will eventually speak through you. Tonight is an opportunity to reset your inner language. Replace self-criticism with alignment. Replace doubt with inquiry. Replace resignation with expectation. Words spoken internally carry just as much weight as words spoken aloud. Heaven hears both. As the year closes, Archangel Michael encourages you to rest without guilt. Rest is not retreat. It is renewal. A rest in spirit hears God more clearly. An exhausted spirit confuses urgency with panic. The coming year will demand clarity, not chaos. Begin cultivating that clarity now. Understand this truth deeply. You are not behind. You are not running out of chances. But you are being invited to mature. Maturity is not about age or experience. It is about response. How you respond to instruction determines how much you can be trusted with. Let this settle into you. The pressure you felt this year was not meant to crush you. It was meant to shape you. And shape determines capacity. The blessing ahead requires the shape you are now carrying. Archangel Michael says protection is already assigned to your obedience. You do not have to fear what you release. You do not have to fear what changes. Heaven does not ask you to step forward uncovered. When you move in alignment, covering follows. As the night continues its quiet march forward, hold this awareness gently, but firmly. You are stepping toward something intentional, not rushed, not accidental, intentional. The next revelation will bring practical clarity to what alignment looks like in your daily life. Let your spirit stay open. Let your heart stay humble. Let your attention remain focused. This is how transitions are honored, and this is how blessings are secured. Precious one, as the air of this night continues to shift, Archangel Michael says this is where inner truth meets daily reality. Many people love spiritual moments but avoid practical change. Yet heaven does not separate the sacred from the ordinary. Alignment is proven not in what you feel during a message, but in what you choose when life returns to routine. This is where the coming year will either bless you or expose resistance. There is a habit God has been gently pointing out to you. It may not look sinful. It may even look productive. But it has been quietly draining your focus, your energy, or your peace. Archangel Michael says not everything that is allowed is beneficial. Some things steal from you slowly, so you do not notice the loss until you are exhausted. The coming year requires discernment at this level. You are being asked to simplify. Complexity hath been masking avoidance. When life feels cluttered, it is often because decisions are being delayed. Archangel Michael says clarity comes when you choose instead of waiting for perfect conditions. Perfection is a moving target. Obedience is a fixed point. Pay attention to what consistently interrupts your peace. That is where realignment is needed. Peace is not just a feeling. It is a signal. When peace leaves, something is out of order. When peace returns, alignment has been restored. The coming year will reward those who listen to this signal early instead of explaining it away. There is also a new responsibility approaching you. It may arrive disguised as an inconvenience or a stretch. Archangel Michael says promotion often looks like pressure before it looks like reward. Heaven tests capacity before releasing increase. Do not reject what challenges you simply because it feels uncomfortable. Ask instead what it is preparing you for. This is especially important in your conversations. Words spoken casually can become agreements without you realizing it. Plans repeated become beliefs. Yokes made in frustration become confessions. Archangel Michael urges you to guard your mouth in the coming year. Speak with intention. Speak with awareness. What you speak consistently, you eventually live. There is also healing happening beneath the surface right now. You may not see it yet, but it is real. Old wounds are losing their authority. Memories that once controlled your reactions are loosening their grip. Archangel Michael says healing is not always loud. Often it is quiet, steady, and unnoticed until you realize you are no longer triggered by what once broke you. Do not rush this process. Quick fixes do not last. Deep healing takes time, but it brings stability. The coming year is designed to be stable, not dramatic. Peaceful, not chaotic. Fruitful, not frantic. But stability requires discipline. And discipline begins with small, consistent choices. Some of you have been waiting for a sign before moving forward. This message is that sign. Archangel Michael says confirmation does not always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes as repeated nudges that refuse to leave you alone. If something has been returning to your thoughts again and again, pay attention. Heaven is persistent when protection is at stake. There is also a call here to reestablish sacred rhythms. Rest, reflection, prayer, gratitude. These are not religious habits, they are alignment tools. When these rhythms disappear, life becomes reactive. When they are restored, life becomes intentional. The coming year will move faster than you expect. Rhythms will keep you grounded. Be mindful of comparison. The next season of your life is unique to your assignment. Measuring yourself against others will distort your vision and steal joy. Archangel Michael says envy is subtle, but it corrodes gratitude. Gratitude keeps you aware of what God is already doing in you. As you stand at the edge of this transition, remind yourself of this truth. God is not asking you to become someone else. He is asking you to become more fully who you were created to be. That version of you requires courage, honesty, and trust. Let this part settle deeply. Practical alignment is not glamorous, but it is powerful. Is how blessings are maintained, not just received. Is how joy becomes sustainable, not seasonal. The next revelation will bring clarity about protection and the unseen battles surrounding your transition. Stay open. Stay aware. Stay receptive. This is how you move forward without carrying unnecessary weight. Beloved one, as the unseen realm becomes more active around this transition, Archangel Michael says this is the hour to understand protection. Many people think protection only matters when danger is obvious, but true protection works quietly, long before harm appears. You are being guarded right now, not because something terrible is about to happen, but because something valuable is about to change. Every transition attracts attention in the spiritual realm. When growth is near, resistance often increases. This does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means you are doing something meaningful. Archangel Michael reveals that the pressure you felt toward the end of this year was not random stress. It was evidence that something old was losing its hold over you. You must understand this clearly. Not every battle is meant to be fought head-on. Some are neutralized simply by staying aligned. Obedience frustrates opposition more than confrontation ever could. When you choose peace over reaction, patience over impulse, truth over convenience, you disarm forces that thrive on chaos. The coming year will require this kind of wisdom. There may be moments ahead where you feel tempted to return to old responses. Old anger, old fear, old self-protection habits. Archangel Michael says awareness is your shield. The moment you recognize the pattern, you regain authority over it. You are no longer who you were when those patterns formed. Do not let muscle memory dictate your future. Here is also an important reminder about rest here. Constant vigilance leads to burnout. Archangel Michael does not ask you to be anxious or hyper-alert. He asks you to trust your covering. When you rest in God's authority, you move from defense to confidence. Confidence attracts favor. Anxiety attracts interference. Be careful not to interpret every delay as opposition. Sometimes delay is redirection. Sometimes it is mercy. Sometimes it is refinement. The coming year will require discernment to know the difference. This discernment grows when you slow down enough to listen instead of react. You may notice that certain conversations feel heavier now. Certain environments feel louder. Certain topics drain you faster than before. This is not weakness. It is sensitivity developing. Archangel Michael says sensitivity is not fragility, it is precision. Precision helps you choose wisely where to invest your time, your energy, and your emotions. Protection also involves boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. They allow what aligns to enter and keep what drains outside. The coming year will bless those who stop explaining their boundaries and start honoring them. You do not need permission to protect your peace. This is also a moment to strengthen community. Isolation weakens discernment. You were not designed to process everything alone. Archangel Michael says aligned connections will become more important in the coming year. Pay attention to who brings clarity, not confusion. Who brings calm, not chaos. Who encourages growth, not fear. If this message is resonating deeply, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video as a sign of agreement. Share it with someone who is standing at a similar crossroads. Leave a comment to anchor what you are receiving in your own words. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to messages that strengthen your discernment and guard your spirit. And if you feel called to go deeper, joining the membership keeps you consistently covered and spiritually fed. These actions are not distractions, they are declarations. Archangel Michael says heaven honors participation. When you step forward instead of remaining passive, the message activates more fully within you. Faith grows when it is expressed. There is one more truth you need to carry with you into the next revelation. Protection is not about avoiding hardship. It is about ensuring hardship does not redefine you. The coming year may test you, but it will not break you if you stay aligned. Trust this process. You are being guided, not pushed. You are being covered, not exposed. You are being prepared, not punished. Let that assurance settle into your spirit. Hold on, because what follows will reveal how timing and obedience intersect in ways that can no longer be ignored. This is where understanding becomes urgent, and urgency becomes action. Beloved child, as the hours thin and the air feels unusually still, Archangel Michael says this is the moment where timing reveals its true weight. Many people misunderstand timing and call it coincidence, but heaven calls it orchestration, and nothing you are experiencing right now is random. Even your awareness of this message at this exact point in the night is part of a larger design that has been unfolding quietly all along. There are seasons when God speaks gently, and there are seasons when He speaks with urgency. This is the second kind. Not because time is running out forever, but because an opportunity window is closing. Archangel Michael says timing is not about fear, it is about precision. Missing timing does not cancel God's will, but it often complicates the path toward it. Think about how many times you sensed something was about to shift, but you hesitated. Not because you were disobedient, but because you were unsure. Uncertainty can feel wise, but prolonged uncertainty becomes a decision in itself. Archangel Michael says heaven respects free will so deeply that even hesitation is honored. But hesitation always has consequences. This part of the message is meant to sharpen your discernment around moments. Not every moment carries the same weight. Some moments are ordinary. Others are gates. Gates do not stay open indefinitely. They respond to recognition. When you recognize a gate, you move. When you miss it, you wait for another cycle. The reason this matters now is because the coming year will not be forgiving of indecision in the same way the previous one was. Grace will still be present, but repetition will become more uncomfortable. Lessons will return faster. Convictions will feel stronger. This is not punishment. It is acceleration. Acceleration requires clarity. Archangel Michael says you will be asked to choose faster in the coming season. Not recklessly, but decisively. The days of endless weighing are ending. Heaven is training you to recognize alignment quickly and step into it without overthinking. This is especially important in moments when logic and peace seem to disagree. Logic will often argue for safety. Peace will invite you into trust. Archangel Michael says peace is the higher authority. Logic explains what had been. Peace points toward what can be. Do not confuse calm resistance with wisdom. Sometimes resistance feels calm because it is familiar. Sometimes obedience feels intense because it is new. Learn to ask which feeling is rooted in truth and which is rooted in habit. The coming year will reward those who learn this distinction early. There is also a refining of priorities happening now. What once felt urgent will soon feel optional. What once felt optional will become essential. Archangel Michael says distractions will lose their appeal if you allow clarity to lead. But clarity must be protected. It is fragile when ignored and powerful when honored. Pay attention to what draws your attention consistently. Attention reveals desire, and desire reveals direction. If your attention is scattered, your direction will be delayed. This is why stillness matters so much right now. Stillness allows hidden desires to surface honestly, You may also notice a growing discomfort with superficial conversations or empty routines. This is not arrogance. It is depth developing. Archangel Michael says depth often feels lonely at first because it requires leaving shallow waters. But depth is where stability is found when storms rise. Do not rush to explain this change to others. Not everyone needs to understand your process. Some seasons are meant to be protected, not broadcasted. The coming year will require discernment about what you share and what you steward quietly. Another truth you must carry forward is this: obedience rarely feels dramatic in the moment. It feels simple, sometimes even boring. But simplicity is where power hides. Grand gestures impress people. Quiet consistency impresses heaven. As the night moves closer to its turning point, allow yourself to release the pressure to feel something extraordinary. This is not about sensation. It is about decision. Decisions made calmly last longer than decisions made emotionally. Archangel Michael says you are stepping into a year where clarity will replace confusion if you allow it. But clarity demands honesty. You cannot keep pretending you do not know what you know. The coming season will gently but firmly remove excuses. Let this message anchor you. You are not being rushed, but you are being cold. You are not being threatened, but you are being invited. Timing is not your enemy. It is your ally when you respond. What follows will bring a deeper understanding of how blessing and responsibility move together, and why one cannot be sustained without the other. Stay present. Stay open. This is where the message deepens even further. Beloved one, as this message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael says this is where blessing and responsibility finally meet. Many desire blessing, but few are taught how to carry it without losing themselves. Heaven does not release weighty blessings into unprepared hands. Not because God withholds, but because overflow without structure becomes loss. This is the truth many never hear. You're standing at a point where increase is possible, but increase always asks a question first. Can you steward what you are praying for? Stewardship is not about perfection. It is about awareness. It is about honoring what God places under your care, whether small or large. The coming year will expose stewardship clearly. What you respect will grow. What you neglect will diminish. Archangel Michael says some of you have been asking for more while overlooking what you already have. More clarity, more peace, more provision, more direction. But heaven begins with what is present, not what is missing. Gratitude is not politeness, it is alignment. When gratitude becomes your posture, increase becomes safe. There is also a deeper responsibility attached to the blessing you are securing tonight. That responsibility is maturity. Maturity does not mean you never struggle. It means you no longer let struggle define your decisions. The coming year will require emotional maturity more than ever. Emotional reactions will cost more. Thoughtful responses will reward more. You are being invited into a season where your inner life matters more than external validation. Praise from people will feel lighter. Peace within will feel heavier. Archangel Michael says the applause of humans fades quickly, but the approval of alignment sustains you when no one is watching. This is also a year where integrity will protect you. Small compromises will have larger consequences, but small acts of honesty will open unexpected doors. Integrity attracts trust, and trust attracts opportunity. Heaven is positioning you for connections that require credibility, not just talent. Be mindful of impatience. Blessings rushed often arrive incomplete. Archangel Michael says timing and preparation walk together. When you rush ahead of readiness, you inherit stress instead of joy. When you allow preparation to finish its work, blessing arrives with peace attached. There may be moments when you feel tested in subtle ways, tempted to exaggerate, tempted to cut corners, tempted to return to old habits because they feel easier. These are not random temptations. They are checkpoints. How you pass them determines how much responsibility you can safely carry. This message is also calling you to consistency, not intensity. Intensity burns fast. Consistency builds quietly. Heaven trusts consistency. The coming year will reward steady obedience far more than emotional highs. As this settles into your spirit, understand this clearly. You are not being asked to earn blessing. You are being asked to protect it. Protection happens through humility, discipline, and awareness. When you guard what God gives, He entrusts you with more. Archangel Michael says many people pray for doors to open, but forget to ask for wisdom to walk through them well. Wisdom is what keeps doors from becoming traps. The coming year will offer opportunities that look good on the surface but require discernment beneath. Stay close to peace. Peace will warn you before trouble appears. You are also being reminded that blessing is not only for you. What God pours into you is meant to flow through you. Stagnant blessing becomes frustration. Void blessing becomes fulfillment. Ask yourself not only what you want to receive, but who you are called to bless. Let this truth settle deeply. The blessing being secured tonight carries assignment. It carries influence. It carries responsibility. And you are capable of carrying it because you are becoming aware. Type "I accept the calling" in the comments if you are ready to carry blessing with wisdom. Lesson code 1440 is now activated. And as this moment transitions naturally, I want you to hear my heart clearly. When I speak, I feel a direct invitation rising for those who understand that this message is bigger than a single night. Every time you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal donation linked in the description, you are sowing seed into souls who are standing at their own crossroads. Scripture declares that those who water others will themselves be watered, and I speak that promise over you now. Your support becomes light that reaches someone before it is too late, oil that keeps this fire burning, and manna for those who are hungry for truth. This is not about money. It is about obedience in motion. As you give, I declare that heaven marks your household for provision, protection, and peace. Act now, and let your generosity become a prophetic response that speaks into the year ahead. Beloved soul, as the message deepens, Archangel Michael says this is where inner authority must be restored. Many people move into a new year asking for strength, but heaven is asking something different of you. Do you recognize the authority you already carry? Authority is not loud. It does not announce itself. It is quiet confidence rooted in alignment. When authority is missing, fear speaks louder. When authority is restored, fear loses its voice. This past year challenged your authority in subtle ways. Doubt questioned your decisions. Delays made you second-guess your instincts. Disappointments tempted you to shrink your expectations. Archangel Michael says none of this was meant to defeat you. It was meant to reveal where you had unknowingly handed your authority away. Tonight, that authority is being returned. Understand this clearly. Authority is not control over others. It is governance over yourself. When you cannot govern your thoughts, your emotions, or your reactions, external circumstances will do it for you. The coming year will demand strong inner leadership. Not dominance, but discipline. Not force, but clarity. You may have noticed moments where you reacted faster than you intended. Words spoken quickly. Decisions made emotionally. Silence chosen when truth was needed. These moments were not failures. They were signals. Archangel Michael says awareness of these patterns is the first step to reclaiming authority. You cannot change what you refuse to notice. There is also a call here to stop negotiating with what you already know is misaligned. Negotiation weakens authority. Every time you justify what God has already asked you to release, you delay peace. The coming year will not respond kindly to internal compromise. What you allow inwardly will eventually manifest outwardly. This is especially true in how you speak to yourself. Self-talk shapes identity. If you constantly rehearse what went wrong, you train your spirit to expect loss. If you rehearse truth, you build resilience. Archangel Michael urges you to listen to your inner language. Authority grows where truth is repeated. You are also being prepared to lead by example, whether you realize it or not. Someone is watching how you handle pressure, how you respond to disappointment, how you navigate transition. Leadership will not begin with a position. It begins with posture. The coming year will place influence in your hands quietly, without ceremony. Be ready to steward it well. Do not underestimate the power of calm obedience. Calm obedience confuses chaos. When others panic, your steadiness will stand out. Archangel Michael says peace is a form of authority the world does not understand. Cultivate it intentionally. There may be moments ahead where you feel tested to react defensively, to prove yourself, to explain yourself. Remember this truth. Authority does not need constant defense. It speaks when necessary and remains silent when wisdom requires restraint. Not every challenge deserves a response. Discernment tells you the difference. This part of the message is also about boundaries at a deeper level. Not just external boundaries with people, but internal boundaries with thoughts and emotions. You do not have to host every thought that knocks. You do not have to follow every emotional impulse. Authority is choosing what gets access to you. Archangel Michael says the coming year will reward those who pause before responding. Reaction creates regret. Response creates direction. This is a simple shift with powerful results. Practice it early, and you will avoid many unnecessary battles. There is also healing happening in how you view yourself. Old labels are losing their power. Names spoken over you that were never God's intention are being stripped away. Archangel Michael says identity clarity restores authority faster than any external breakthrough. When you know who you are, confusion loses its leverage. As you stand in this transition, remind yourself that authority grows with use. Start small. Choose discipline in one area. Speak truth in one conversation. Set one boundary you have been avoiding. Small acts of authority compound over time. Do not wait for confidence to act. Confidence follows obedience, not the other way around. Archangel Michael says move with what you have, and strength will meet you on the way. Let this settle deeply. You are not powerless. You are not overlooked. You are not drifting into the next year unprepared. Authority is being restored where it was weakened. Clarity is replacing confusion. Stability is forming beneath the surface. The next revelation will address how momentum is built and maintained so that what you secure tonight does not fade with time. Stay present. Stay grounded. This is how lasting change is formed. Beloved one, Archangel Michael says this is where momentum becomes the deciding factor. Many people receive powerful revelation, but they lose its impact because they do not know how to sustain movement. Momentum is not built by dramatic moments alone. It is built by repeated alignment. What you do consistently after this night will determine how far the blessing travels with you into the coming year. Momentum begins with agreement. Agreement between what you hear and what you do. When revelation stays in the mind but never reaches behavior, it fades. Archangel Michael says heaven releases insight expecting motion, not admiration. The coming year will move quickly, and momentum will separate those who advance from those who repeat. You must understand this truth. Stagnation is rarely obvious at first, and disguises itself as rest, as patience, as waiting for clarity. But waiting without instruction becomes avoidance. Archangel Michael says clarity increases when you move in the last direction God gave you. Motion invites further instruction. This is especially important in the first weeks of the new year. How you begin sets rhythm. Rhythm sets tone. Tone sets outcome. Small decisions made early carry more weight than big decisions delayed. Do not underestimate the power of starting aligned, even if the steps feel modest. There will be voices that try to slow your momentum. Some will mean well. Others will speak from their own fear. Archangel Michael says discernment will be required to know which voices to honor and which to filter. Not every opinion deserves influence. Momentum is fragile when exposed to too many directions. Guard your mornings. What you feed your spirit early will shape your reactions later. A distracted start leads to a reactive day. A aligned start leads to intentional movement. The coming year will reward those who choose focus over frenzy. Momentum also requires letting go of perfectionism. Waiting to do something perfectly often means never doing it at all. Archangel Michael says obedience done imperfectly is more powerful than intention delayed indefinitely. Progress is built through movement, not flawlessness. There is also a warning here. Momentum belong me no remitment. Burnout kills progress faster than failure. Learn the pace of grace. Grace moves steadily, not frantically. The coming year will tempt you to rush, but wisdom will call you to remain steady. Pay attention to how you handle interruptions. Interruptions reveal priorities. When every interruption derails you emotionally, momentum breaks. When interruptions are met with calm adjustment, momentum continues. Archangel Michael says flexibility protects forward motion. You are also being called to anchor what you are receiving through action. When you speak in agreement, when you engage with this message instead of passively consuming it, momentum increases. So if this message is strengthening you, respond outwardly. Like this video to mark alignment. Share it so someone else does not cross into the new year unaware. Comment with what you are securing tonight, because words anchor decisions. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to messages that protect your momentum. And if you desire deeper consistency, joining the membership keeps you spiritually grounded beyond moments like this. These actions are not about platforms. They are about participation. Archangel Michael says faith expressed publicly strengthens resolve privately. When you step forward, heaven meets you with reinforcement. Momentum also grows through accountability. Isolation slows progress. Find at least one space where truth is welcomed and growth is encouraged. The coming year will require community, not crowds. Depth, not noise. Be prepared for resistance that looks like boredom. Sometimes the enemy does not attack with fear, but with apathy. Apathy whispers that this does not matter anymore. Archangel Michael says this is where many lose momentum. When emotion fades, discipline must lead. Discipline carries you when feelings fluctuate. There will be days ahead when this night feels distant, when routine returns, when urgency softens. That is normal. Momentum is built by returning to alignment even when urgency is gone. That is maturity. You are not meant to sprint endlessly. You are meant to move faithfully. Faithful movement compounds. Over time, It creates breakthroughs that appear sudden to others but were built quietly. Before this part ends, hear this clearly. What you are secure in is not fragile. It does not disappear easily, but it does require stewardship. Momentum is stewardship in motion. Protected, feeded, respected. Hold on just a little longer. What comes next will reveal how this momentum leads to visible outcomes and how to recognize when heaven is confirming your alignment. You will want to stay with this, because this is where many finally see the evidence they have been waiting for. Beloved child, Archangel Michael says this is where evidence begins to emerge. Many people expect confirmation to arrive loudly, but heaven often confirms alignment quietly first. The coming year will not announce every breakthrough with noise. Some confirmations will arrive as peace where anxiety once lived. Others will appear as clarity replacing confusion. Do not overlook these signs. They are evidence before manifestation. You must understand this truth deeply. Heaven rarely changes circumstances before it changes perception. When your perception shifts, you start responding differently, and different responses create different outcomes. Archangel Michael says the first proof that alignment is working is not what changes around you, but what changes within you. Pay attention to your reactions in the days ahead. Situations that once triggered fear may no longer have the same power. Conversations that once drained you may feel neutral. Decisions that once felt overwhelming may suddenly feel clear. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that authority, momentum, and alignment are taking root. There is also a refining of discernment happening now. You will begin to sense what is worth your energy and what is not. This discernment will save you time, protect your peace, and preserve your focus. Archangel Michael says discernment is one of the greatest gifts you will carry into the new year. It prevents unnecessary battles and wasted seasons. Do not rush visible results. Rushing often leads to disappointment because it ignores process. Process is where stability is formed. The coming year will reward those who respect process without resenting it. What grows slowly often lasts longer. You may notice that certain desires begin to change. Things you once wanted desperately may lose their appeal. This does not mean you are losing ambition. It means your desires are maturing. Archangel Michael says purified desire leads to fulfillment without regret. Impure desire leads to achievement without peace. There will also be moments when old temptations resurface. Not because you are failing, but because those temptations are losing power and making one last attempt to stay relevant. Awareness is your advantage. When you recognize the pattern, you can choose differently without panic. Be mindful of how you interpret setbacks. Not every obstacle is opposition. Some are redirection. Some are protection. Some are timing adjustments. Archangel Michael says setbacks only defeat those who internalize them as identity. When you see them as instruction, they become tools. You are also being trained to listen differently. Less noise, more discernment, fewer opinions, more peace. The coming year will overwhelm those who chase information without wisdom. Wisdom knows what to ignore. What you ignore often matters as much as what you pursue. Another confirmation you may notice is alignment in conversations. People speaking words that echo what God has already been showing you. Messages repeating themes you have been praying about. Scriptures standing out unexpectedly. Archangel Michael says repetition is confirmation. Heaven repeats what it wants to anchor. Do not become impatient if others do not understand your changes. Growth often creates distance before it creates admiration. Some people can only recognize change after results appear. Stay steady. You do not need universal approval to move forward. There is also warning here. Do not return to old patterns just because new ones feel unfamiliar. Familiarity is seductive. It promises comfort but delivers stagnation. Archangel Michael says unfamiliar obedience always leads to expansion. As you move forward, keep your expectations anchored in truth, not fantasy. Faith is not denial of reality. It is trust in God's authority over reality. When expectations are aligned with truth, disappointment loses its grip. This season is also teaching you patience with yourself. Growth does not mean perfection. It means progress. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge it. Gratitude accelerates growth. Criticism slows it down. You are stepping into a year where consistency will speak louder than intention. What you practice will shape your outcomes. Practice alignment. Practice discipline. Practice listening. Practice gratitude. Before this part closes, hear this reassurance. You are not walking blind. You are being guided. Even when you cannot see the full path, the next step is illuminated. That is enough. Archangel Michael says trust what is forming quietly. Do not demand instant proof. Proof is coming, but it will arrive in layers. Inner confirmation first. External confirmation second. Visible breakthrough last. Remain grounded. Remain attentive. Remain humble. The final revelation will bring closure to this message and release what must be sealed as you fully cross into what lies ahead. Stay present. This is the moment where everything you have heard finds its completion. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says this is the sealing moment. This is not an ending. It is a crossing. Everything spoken until now was preparation for this final alignment, where awareness turns into covenant. Heaven is not asking you to remember every word. It is asking you to carry the posture. Posture determines what follows you into the new year. As this year breathes its final breath, understand that endings are not empty. They are powerful. Endings gather meaning. They collect lessons. They compress wisdom. Archangel Michael says what you acknowledge at an ending determines how you begin again. If you rush past this moment, you carry fragments forward. If you honor it, you carry clarity. There is something sacred about closing a chapter intentionally. Tonight, you are not just leaving a year behind. You are releasing identities that no longer fit. You are laying down burdens that overstayed their assignment. You are stepping out of agreements that were formed in fear, exhaustion, or survival mode. The coming year cannot host the old version of you without conflict. This release is not loss. It is alignment. Archangel Michael says some of you are grieving quietly, even as you hope. That is okay. Grief and faith can coexist. Grief honors what was real. Faith honors what is possible. Do not suppress either. Let them meet and settle into peace. Peace is the bridge between what was and what will be. This is also the moment to bless what is ahead, even before you see it clearly. Blessing the future is an act of trust. You bless it not because you control it, but because you trust the one who does. Archangel Michael says spoken blessing creates spiritual permission for goodness to unfold without resistance. Be mindful of what you carry in your final thoughts of this year. Thoughts are seed. Seeds planted in transition grow quickly. Choose thoughts of gratitude over regret. Choose expectancy over fear. Choose trust over control. You are not naive for doing so. You are aligned. The coming year will not be perfect, but it will be purposeful. You will not avoid all challenges, but you will face them differently. You will not have every answer, but you will recognize guidance faster. This is the reward of awareness. This is the fruit of alignment. Archangel Michael declares that protection is sealed over your mind, your household, your decisions, and your path forward. What is not assigned to your future will lose access. What is meant for you will find you with less resistance. This is not because you earned it, but because you responded. As you cross this threshold, do not rush to fill the silence. Let stillness be your first companion in the new year. Stillness allows instruction to surface. Stillness keeps you sensitive. Stillness prevents unnecessary struggle. Remember this above all else. God is not far ahead of you, waiting impatiently. He is walking with you, step by step. When you pause, He pauses. When you move, He moves. You are not behind. You are on time. Archangel Michael says the greatest danger now is forgetting what you felt in this moment. To anchor it, write it down later. Speak it out loud. Mark it in your heart. What is anchored is not easily stolen. You are stepping forward lighter than you were before. More aware, more grounded, more protected. Let that be enough. You do not need to prove anything tonight. Crossing with peace is victory. And now, seal this crossing with intention. Type "I step forward" sealed in the comments if you are receiving this word and claiming it over the coming year. Blessing code 2025 is now activated over your life. If this word has guarded your heart, redirected your path, or awakened your awareness tonight, then understand this. You are not meant to keep it to yourself. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal donation linked in the description, you are sowing directly into souls who are standing at the edge of their own turning point. The word declares that those who sow in faith will reap in due season, and I speak that promise over every giver now. Your support becomes light released into darkness, oil poured into weary hearts, and a signal to heaven that you stand with this calling. This is not a donation. It is a prophetic act of obedience. Step forward now, support the mission, and let heaven respond to your obedience with favor, protection, and overflow in the year ahead.